It's Christmas. We're in Shrewsbury. That can mean only one thing: a Christmas Carol filming locations. Yeah, so the subject of today's presentation is a film directed by Clive Donner, based on a novella by Charles Dickens, first published in 1843, A Christmas Carol, a real classic. My particular favourite interpretation of the classic Christmas story. There's quite a few good ones. You've got the Alistair Sim 1951 adaptation, which also had Clive Donner as an editor on it. But you've also got the Muppets Christmas Carol, which is another favourite of mine. But of course, the one shot in Shrewsbury is my all-time favourite. Might have to warn you as well, there might be a bit of a spoiler alert, because if you don't know the story of Christmas Carol, you may glean it from watching the order of the scenes, which we're going to be presenting tonight. So perhaps check out A Christmas Carol on YouTube. It's free to watch. I'll leave a link in the comments. So get your sleigh bells ready. We're going for a Christmas ride through Shrewsbury streets. We're going to go all the way back to 1843 by way of 1984. So get ready. Marley was as dead as a doornail. This must be clearly understood if anything wonderful is going to come from this story I'm about to relate. Fred Holliwell, narrator. Marley's hearse is led up this direction. Horse-drawn hearse, very wintry scene. It then cuts to 7 years later, and Christmas festivities and decorations festoon this area. That's actually the alley that Scrooge came out of, but it's dressed up with the Keel and Son sign up, J. Keel and Son. And the shop frontage is just visible. We get the opening credits shot of the classic Victorian scene, Christmas scene. Similar shop frontage, but it was actual stage dressing because it protruded out. Bob Cratchit, David Warner, looking out at the Christmas festivities, looking out from Scrooge and Marley. Just keep that in mind though, the Christmas festivities outside the window, because they're definitely supposed to be here, because when it goes to the inside scene with Roger Rees and Fred Holliwell, you can still hear the music, so just hold that in mind. Next, for a moment we get the scene of Tiny Tim just making his laboured way up here to meet his dad on the corner. Once again, Anthony Waters is just standing here on the second step, awaiting his father, Bob Cratchit. And who comes out but Scrooge, gives him the humbug and makes his way off down here. So it's right here, you've got a shot of Tiny Tim back to the wall. The detail on the back on the wall, stage dressing. Get Scrooge in front of this, looking down on Tiny Tim. Here Scrooge makes his way up, bad-temperedly, past the small group of children singing Christmas carols. Humbug to them, he says. Gullet passage, which joins Marblehead with the square just up there, makes his way out of here, which is interesting because in real life that's where he just was. The children carol singers were just up there, but Here's a real life. This is A Christmas Carol. Scrooge makes his way up there. Still looks very similar. Obviously we haven't got the props and that scaffolding's in the way, but as you can see, you had the couple of little signs on the right hand side. It's still here. Close up shot of the brass band playing. From this angle here, you can still see the down pipe, the down gutter pipe coming down there. Just to think they were standing here 36 years ago playing away. So Scrooge makes his way up here after his long journey round. He comes out the same way as Bob and Tim do, but this is the angle he appeared from on his way to the Corn Exchange, now known as the Parade, formerly the Royal Shrewsbury Infirmary. Got the nurses' home in the background, which is now high-end apartments. The Corn Exchange, again, Scrooge makes his way in here. So we're just going to have a quick walk into the Corn Exchange, otherwise known as the Parade Shopping Centre, formerly known as the RSI, just to show you that it wasn't actually the interior that was featured in the movie. It's just a lot of nice shops in there, some mementos of the filming 36, nearly 37 years ago. So David Warner comes over and greets his son Tiny Tim, played by Anthony Waters. Right here. And then they make their way together from Windsor Place up to the Corn Exchange Parade. You'll notice the Christmas festivities have now gone, not too long later than when we heard them, and a house, it appears that a house is opposite the offices, just the right here. As you can see, the step and the couple of steps just here, not really here, that must have been added on. Also asks the question why Scrooge came out of here, walked down where Tiny Tim had just walked up from. Maybe misers go the long way round, because it is a long way round, because that is one steep hill. Bear in mind, Tiny Tim just walked up there, so the little guy's got a lot of puff. Carol singers standing right about here 36 years ago. Nice and lit up for us, very festive. Bob Cratchit, Tiny Tim come and stand here so they can watch the boys sliding on the ice and the Christmas festivities outside the Corn Exchange. We get a shot of Tiny Tim, Bob Cratchit come to stand here. This is where what's behind where they're standing. And they're looking out at the lads sliding on the ice, Christmas festivities. But in reality, they were standing just there by that silver car, which is quite the opposite of where they were portrayed as being standing. Just these little things. It's interesting to know. Doesn't detract from the presentation though. Fantastic. My favourite Christmas Carol. There's the close-up shot of one of the lads sliding on the ice. Here we got the close-up of the lad about to chuck a snowball. In daylight, this way Scrooge walked home. So Scrooge is followed by the camera on his way home through Old St Chad's churchyard. You can actually see it briefly in the background, very dimly. He makes his way along here on his way home. You might notice there's railings in the film, but there isn't railings here now today. I'm not 100% sure whether they were here back in filming in 1984, but there's evidence of railings here, that railings were here. But I didn't live here in Shrewsbury in 1984, that part of 1984, and I was very young, and I can't find anyone who can remember whether there was or not back in the day. So jury's out on the railings, whether they were put here by the crew or they were actually here in 1984. Scrooge makes his way up Belmont. And we follow Scrooge up to his doorstep. It's very creepy tonight. And of course, the door knocker that turns into the ghost of Marley would just be here. But there's no sign of it now. And Scrooge's bedroom just up here. So we're here at Attingham Park, 5 miles outside of Shrewsbury. Ebenezer Scrooge is brought here by the ghost of Christmas past, played by Angela Peasants. Done a lot of TV and movie work over the years, the daughter of Donald Peasants, of course. As you can see, that is the bridge where Scrooge comes marching up. He's late to meet Belle. Comes walking briskly off the bridge, 20 paces or so I count. Just up to about here somewhere, where there's a little bench, set dressing, where Belle's waiting for him. Again, it's just about here that Belle says to Ebenezer, after asking him if all those years ago a dowry-less girl would still appeal to him after he's become an arch materialist. You think I would not then? Oh, Ebenezer, what a safe and terrible answer, so characteristic of the careful man you are. And they part their ways, Belle walking off that way and Ebenezer walking off to his life of solitary money gathering. And he walks off towards the bridge, a bench, not the one Belle and Ebenezer, young Ebenezer, met at, because it would have been down here by the bridge. So here we have the courtyard where Belle and her 6 children are building a snowman. Quite a wintry scene with snow all over the courtyard. In comes her husband, simply called Belle's husband, played by Peter Setellen. He was in A Bridge Too Far, playing Lieutenant Cole, and interestingly, he was a public speaking coach for Princess Diana. Coach just pulls in here by the 3rd arch. He gets out, says presents on Christmas Eve as usual. Scrooge and Ghost of Christmas Present have a walk together. Walk past the old market hall and walk down towards the music hall. Just make a note of that. Edward Woodward brings George Campbell Scott through here. Completely opposite direction to what they walked in the previous scene, so they must have doubled back on themselves. That's just my outlook because I know the area. But they come through here and there's all Christmas market out here, Victorian style. Which Scrooge notes, a lot of buying and selling going here. Only sees the material side of things. That's his problem. Edward Woodward brings George C. Scott to Bob Cratchit's house, which was just sticking out, stage dressing, just where that window and white door is now, at the corner of bare steps. Ghost of Christmas Present berates Scrooge a bit here on the doorstep of Bob Cratchit's house. You can see the wall, but it's not the same wall. This wall was part of is original, and I believe it was all stage dressing, which was part of the structure of Bob Cratchit's house. Scrooge with this doorway in the shop behind him, just about there. Tanner's Wine. The interior of the Cratchit's house was filmed in here, but it was filmed there, and there was a garage next door, and they had to reshoot scenes because they were spraying and making loads of noise, and it interfered with the filming process. And Edward Woodward walking magnificently on his stilts. Brings George Campbell Scott, Scrooge, to his nephew's house, Fred Hollywell, and his lovely wife Janet Hollywell, played by Caroline Langshry, and of course Roger Rees. We get this sort of shot from standing outside the front door with a nice shot of the crescent in the background. You can see the sign just before they go in to see what's going on. The next location that the Ghost of Christmas Present is taking us to. So it's here, under the tunnels, that Scrooge's story starts to get dark. He's brought here holding the sleeve of the robe of Ghost of Christmas Present. And he leaves here with the ghost of Christmas yet to be, and things literally and figuratively take a turn for the dark. Meg and Ben's family, like I said, here, destitute under the bridge. Meg, played by Catherine Hall. Ben, played by Brian Pettifer. Yeah, the family right here, with a little brazier to cook their baked potatoes, and the little lad exclaims that his baked potatoes too hot, and his mum says, "Don't worry, it'll soon be cold enough." Hard times. These are hard hands. They can do hard work. Ben's sort of standing right here when he suggests to Meg and the kids that they go to the parish poorhouse. Meg says she'd rather them all drown in the river together than go to the parish poorhouse. But I don't know if the actress playing Meg realised that the river is just right here, just up there, featured on the Bridges of Shrewsbury video, just there. And any time in winter it can flood, and all of this is underwater, feet underwater. So that might have happened if they didn't go to the parish poorhouse. So Edward Woodward's Ghost of Christmas Present departs and leaves Scrooge abandoned and alone under these arches. But it's not long until the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Be appears, Michael Carter. Who you may or may not recognise from playing Bib Fortuna in Return of the Jedi, amongst many other roles. He just appears down here, lit up very atmospherically, and might I say a bit spookily. So it was just here Michael Carter, as I said, made his appearance, and you can still see the trees that were silhouetted behind him. Grown up a bit bigger over the last 36 years and got a coating of ivy or something around the outside, but it's still recognisable. We do get the scene where the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Be brings Scrooge to a most foul part of town, which is in reality the beer garden to a public house, the Nag's Head. You can't get the angle because sadly of tier 2 restrictions, the pub is shut, but Scrooge walks along the top of there to a staircase that was built especially for the filming at the back. Walks inside the structure, which is a genuine Elizabethan structure at the back of the pub, integrated into the beer garden, and has his scene with Peter Woodthorpe and Liz Smith. The next time Scrooge is brought here is by Michael Carter, the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Be. And obviously it's darker, it's almost like tonight. And I forgot to mention, this up here, there was a false wall just behind there. So if you do see a wall used in the Edward Woodward scene, it was never there. Stage dressing once again on bare steps. Just while we're outside the Cratchit family house, just thought I'd mention Mrs. Cratchit was played by Susanna York. Tiny Tim was played by Anthony Waters, a local lad. Martha Cratchit was played by Louise Gasser. Peter Cratchit played by Kieran Hughes. Belinda Cratchit, Sasha Wells. Little boy Cratchit, Orlando Wells. And don't forget, little girl Cratchit played by Nancy Dodds. 1/3 of that family were the actual children of Susanna York. That was Orlando Wells and Sasha Wells. The exact shot of Ebenezer Scrooge's grave 36 years later, or a lot later if you count from 1843. I think Scrooge was the only one surprised. I don't think anyone watching was that the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Be was going to reveal the gravestone to be Ebenezer Scrooge. Dun, dun, dun. So it's Christmas morning. Scrooge has had his long night of the soul, or dark night of the soul. On Christmas Eve, he's feeling like a new man. He flings open this window here, just to the right of the door. Calls a passing lad, the boy who gets the turkey, and tells him to get the biggest turkey going at the local poulterers just up the way. Followed by Scrooge, smartly walking up the road to his nephew's house, which in real life is in the exact opposite direction, a short step down here. But again, we're not in real life. We're in a Christmas carol. In a much better mood. Comes out into the sunny, and on his way to the corn exchange, he greets the carol singers and says nice Christmas greetings to them. This was the angle. Bumps into Mr. Paul, played by Michael Gough, a Tony Award-winning actor. Played Alfred in Batman, in both of the Tim Burton Batmans with Michael Keaton, also alongside Val Kilmer and George Clooney. You've got Mr. Hacking, played by John Quarmby, forever known to me as Zondag in the early episodes of my all-time favourite 1970s detective show, Van der Valk, filmed in Amsterdam. So the poulterer would have been right here when he delivered the turkey from the mystery benefactor to Bob Cratchit's house on Christmas morning. As the poulterer makes his way off to have his own Christmas day, you can clearly see this building in the background. And we're just walking down from Scrooge's mansion, just here, to his nephew's, Fred Hollywell's, which is in the opposite direction to what Scrooge set off in, and it's literally a 3-minute walk. So it's very upsetting that he never visited his nephew. Christmas morning, and Scrooge is making amends for his life of error, wishing everybody he meets a happy Christmas vigorously. Makes his way to his nephews. Fred Hollywell and his lovely wife, Janet Hollywell, right here. They're going to have a nice Christmas day together and play loads of games of similes. Favourite of the Hollywells at Christmas. Bob Cratchit comes running down here, 20 minutes late for work on Boxing Day. He's in for a surprise though. And the final shot of Tiny Tim and Scrooge making their way off happily together at the end of the movie. So that was A Christmas Carol filming locations. Thanks for joining me and watching till the end. If you like what you saw or didn't like what you saw, feel free to leave a comment, like, dislike, subscribe, do whatever you want. Hope to see you real soon, and you will see me again, but I can't tell you exactly when it'll be. Third-rate content. See you real soon. And God bless us, everyone.